Here we go.
This finale of the Fast and the Furious, quote-unquote finale, it's a two-parter. Fast 10 is supposed to be part 1, the one that just came out yesterday, and then part 2. And I don't know if they're still going to call it Fast 11 or they're going to call it Fast 10 part 2, but it was always supposed to be a two-parter. So that was the plan. That was the original plan for Fast 10, two-parter, and recently, I think it was last week, somebody asked Vin Diesel something about the franchise or whatever, and he made like a little tease, or I don't know if he was just joking, but he said something about, oh, the studio looks like they want another movie. So like a trilogy finale. Instead of a two-parter, we want a trilogy Fast and Furious finale. So we have Fast 10, 11, and 12, I'm guessing. So I don't think this is actually official, but that may happen. It looks like they may actually go with that. But that's kind of where we're at here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the positives of Fast 10. And I'm just going to tell you right now, there's not a lot of good positives. There's not a lot of good pros. Okay, so you see Jason Momoa. So we have Jason Momoa as the villain here. He plays a character named Dante, and his motivation makes sense. It's connected to Fast 5, so that's a box check that kind of makes sense. Vin Diesel and some other of the Dominic Toretto crew ended up sabotaging the whole organization that his father, Dante's father, was doing in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and ultimately he was killed. And so now he's after them. So that's Dante, the son, played by Jason Momoa. So he was, I'll say it's a positive, is the pro. He was the most entertaining aspect, I would say, as far as any one particular character, including Dominic Toretto. He was definitely the most entertaining. I did think he was a little over the top sometimes, because he was kind of playing this character like... I know some people describe that as kind of like Joker-ish, like the Joker. And yeah, I can kind of see that. I can also see a bit of, Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor from Superman. Not exactly like that, but just kind of like odd, kind of like off-putting character. So I kind of combined those, like Joker-ish, and then that Lex Luthor portrayed by Jesse Eisenberg in Batman vs Superman. That's kind of how I can describe him in this particular case. So every time he's in this movie, it is entertaining. He's always saying some weird ass shit, and he definitely is a threat, to the crew. And like I said, the motivations are good. He's entertaining. So yeah, I'll say this is definitely a positive for this movie, without a doubt there. And there's another picture of Dante or Jason Momoa here on a motorcycle. So another positive here are the action sequences. So, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the action sequences in a lot of the Fast and the Furious movies are over the top. They just go beyond what we can really believe, even in a movie. There's just a lot of chaos and craziness that you really have to ignore a lot of things. And there's definitely a lot of this in this movie. There's definitely a lot of sequences like that. There were a lot, though, that were actually pretty good, that they were entertaining and so forth. So the action sequences were good. I think when it comes to people who really liked the other Fast and the Furious movies, if there wasn't a single Fast and the Furious movie that you did not like, then you're gonna love this one. It's not much different. It is a little bit more grounded than Fast 9. So in that sense, it's a positive. So the action sequences, I'll still say it's a positive, even though there are some crazy and ridiculous things that are just like, how the hell did that even happen? Like, really, how did that even happen? Even in a Fast and the Furious movie, in a Hollywood movie, you just really have to be able to suspend disbelief many times. Okay, so I don't think I have any other positive elements, any other positive pros here. So we're gonna get into the negatives now. So some of the main negatives here is the dialogue. So the dialogue in this movie is pretty horrible. I'm gonna give you some examples. That's what I mean, that it might be spoilery. It's up to you if you want to consider it spoilery or not. It's just two little scenes. It's not really gonna change anything as far as, I don't think it's gonna spoil anything as far as what the story's gonna be like. But I'll give you one example. And actually, before I do that, because I did mention that there wasn't any more positives, there kind of is another positive, but not for the way that you think. There's a positive, there's a pro, because this movie is actually, like, I was laughing a lot in this movie. I went with a group of people here, and a lot of us were laughing a lot in this movie, and it wasn't supposed to be funny though. A lot of the dialogue was hilarious, not intended to be funny, and that's why I'm saying it's a positive, but really it's a negative. And this is the negative, the dialogue. Giving you an example here. So this one, I think this is the one that I probably laughed at the most. And you may not, I'm not trying to make you laugh here, I'm just explaining to you why it was just kind of hilarious. So there's a part, and again, you may consider this a spoiler or not. I don't think it is, but I'm just letting you know right now. There's a part where Dominic Toretto is in his house, the LA house, with his wife at that point, Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez. So Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto, he's looking out the window of their bedroom. So they're upstairs. And then you see him, he's standing there, there's a shot, he's standing there, looking outside, looking out the window in thought. And then you hear someone say, "What are you looking at?" And that's Letty. That's Michelle Rodriguez. "What are you looking at?" And then he turns around and he's like, "You." And I started laughing because it's like, no, you were not looking at her. You were looking at something. You were outside staring at something. So I thought I just started laughing at that because that makes no fucking sense. So I don't know if you're trying to make a romantic, cute moment or something, the filmmakers, but I thought that shit was hilarious. So that was one of them. And then there's another part where I'm not going to give you the context of this. I'll just give you the line. And I believe it was portrayed or delivered by Michelle Rodriguez. And she says something like, game recognizes game, or game knows game, or some shit like that. It was fucking stupid. And I started laughing with that. There's just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of dialogue that is just so cringeworthy, I guess you can say, and it was unintendedly funny. So that's why I'm kind of saying that this franchise is kind of a complicated situation, because I find it funny even though it's not supposed to, but I was entertained. Kind of like how sometimes I like to watch Batman and Robin because it's funny, because Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, making all his puns and some of the stupid lines George Clooney says, or Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, some of the stupid lines she says, or just in general a lot of stupid shit going on in that movie. And I like watching it because it's entertaining, it's funny, it's stupid. I wouldn't say that this is at the level of those movies or Fast X, but the movie The Room. Tommy Wiseau, I think the guy's name, Tommy Wiseau. The Room. It's a terrible, horrible movie, but it's hilarious and it's entertaining as hell. That's kind of what we're getting at here with Fast X or Fast 10. So some of the dialogue was pretty bad like that. Let me see. So another negative here is, so just like the basic story. The story is very basic. It's just typical Fast and the Furious movie. If you've seen a Fast and the Furious movie, you've basically seen this one. There's nothing original. There's nothing groundbreaking. There's nothing that makes you think. It was just as basic and as unoriginal as it gets, basically. Oh, here's another thing that I found hilarious. Again, I don't consider this spoilery, but just warning you again. There's a scene where Dominic Toretto I believe he's in his garage. He's in his garage, and there's a bunch of photos on the walls. And there's this little music, little motivating music, or not say motivating, but it's just supposed to have you feel things, right? You're looking at the past of the franchise, pictures and photos of all these moments of the movies and stuff like that. But the thing is, they're actual photos of scenes of the movie, scenes that, who would have taken that picture? Who would have taken that photo? There's no way that no one took a photo. So these are just shots from the movie, and they're somehow on the walls of Dominic Toretto's garage. So it's kind of like if Vin Diesel had his garage. Vin Diesel, the man, the actor, if he had a garage and it had a bunch of photos of the Fast and the Furious franchise, and he's just looking at them. But when they're portraying it, the character Dominic Toretto is viewing and watching these photos of scenes from the movies in the past, like Too Fast, Too Furious, or the first Fast and the Furious, I started laughing because there's no way that no one took those photos. Who took these photos? So I thought that was hilarious. But again, entertaining, not good though. Not good. Story beats are repetitive here. Like I said, a lot of the elements of the storytelling of this is the basic shit that we've seen before, the other Fast and the Furious movies. So there was parts in this movie that were kind of I was tuning out, especially when there were some scenes with Jason Statham and the other actors like Ludacris and them. A lot of those scenes I didn't really care for, and they were just kind of added there and separated in the story, and I didn't care for that at all. That would have been one of the weaker moments of the movie. There's no stakes. There's no stakes in this movie whatsoever. You guys have seen this in Fast and Furious. It's like the MCU, like Marvel. Characters die for whatever reason, and then they come back. I'm not necessarily talking about something specifically for this movie, but just in general, they have the Han character, who's in this movie, who died in Tokyo Drift. So the Asian guy, and he was killed, but then he came back somehow, and I don't think they've ever really explained it. At least they didn't give us a good explanation as to how he survived or how he comes back. But that's one of them. Letty, the Letty character, Michelle Rodriguez, she died at one point supposedly, but then she came back. Dominic Toretto does all these crazy things that he would have been dead 5, 6, 7 movies ago, based on the shit that he's doing. Now everyone's a spy, everyone's going to space, everyone's a superhero, and no one gets really hurt. And even some of the people who come back, let's say there was a belief that a certain character died, they don't try to explain, or they don't try to show any consequences, or not consequences, any effects of what happened to them. If somebody was involved in a car accident and everyone believed that they died, there's no indication that they were involved in any kind of accident of any sort. There's no everyone's walking perfectly fine, everyone's face is normal, everyone's face is the same, there's no limbs missing or scratches or anything like that. So there's no stakes in Fast and the Furious franchise. So let me go to this. So I'm gonna give you just the overall here of Fast 10 or Fast X. So again, terrible dialogue, weak ass story, things don't make any sense, tropes being repeated and unoriginal, but ultimately it was funny for the wrong reasons. So I can't say I wasn't somewhat entertained in Fast 10 or Fast X, because I was entertained. Not the whole time, but I was actually entertained. I did find it funny for the wrong reasons. So that's why I tell you, complicated relationship that I have with the Fast and the Furious franchise, and Fast 10 just continues that pattern with me anyway. So I'll give you guys my grade. I already posted this on social media, on Instagram, but It's a grade C minus. I'll say skip it. Okay, I'm saying skip it because I can't officially say you have to go see this movie in the theaters. I can't really, like, I can't push myself to say, and on record say, see it, go see this movie, because it's not good. But like I mentioned earlier, if you like all the other Fast and the Furious movies and you haven't seen this and you're planning on seeing it, most likely you will like this. Most likely you will enjoy yourself. Most likely you won't care about all the issues that this movie has. So I'm gonna grade it a C minus. It's a skip it. I can't even say stream it for the same reason, because like I can't even say, oh, I think it's good enough for you to stream this movie, because I don't think it is. Like I said, it's really up to you. It's really how you feel about this. It's like, if you really want to go to a movie knowing this information, that it might be entertaining and funny for the wrong reasons, then yes, I'll say at least to stream it. But I just can't full on and say this is a see it or a stream it. So I'll say this is a skip it, grade C minus. So this is Fast X, Fast 10. So there you go, guys. So those are my thoughts of Fast 10, Fast X. So if you guys watch the movie, let me know what you guys think about all of this information. So everything that I said, all my points and all the issues that I have with the movie, but yet some of the components that were still kind of entertaining and funny. Did you have a similar experience like mine, or you love the franchise more than I did, or you just hated it completely, even more than what I did? Maybe you would have given it an F. I don't know. So let me know. Put it in the comment section below. And so I think that's it for the non-spoiler review of Fast 10.